This is a bittersweet one for me today, but it's always a pleasure to speak to this man. It is the Red Dog, Paul Redmond, who's announced his retirement from professional mixed martial arts. Paul, first of all, my buddy, how's everything with you? You're looking well. You're looking fresh. You've definitely put on a few pounds from looking at you now.
Not too much. I mean, I used to walk around about 80. And this morning I'm 82. I have a grappling match on Sunday, so I walk around about 4 pound heavier.
You're keeping a bit trim, Paul, so you need to lay off those.
You know, I never wanted to be, the more I was thinking about the whole retirement route and stuff like that, I never wanted to be one of them big retired fighters with a belly and, you know, sitting at the bar still saying, you know, could have made it, this, that, the other. So I like keeping trim. I like training, you know, 5, 6 days, 7 days a week, whatever. So that'll never change.
You're like me, one of those fat slobs now moaning about me. What could have been with a glittering rugby career that I threw in the pub. That's what happened with me, Paul. Paul, listen, you know, I was saying this to you off air. It's sort of it's bittersweet. You know, you're obviously that sort of first generation of, you know, the UFC wave coming through from Ireland. I think half the guys are retired now. I think the only 2 active fighters are Norman Park and Conor McGregor. So, just your decision behind it. We saw the Instagram post. I'm going to put it up now. What was the decision behind the reason to call it a day, Paulie?
A few factors. One, sort of my age. You know, 35 there a couple of weeks ago. Not that that's extremely old in MMA career, but it's old enough to know, and I'm old enough to know where it is, or how old it is at where I am in my career. You know, it'd be fine if I was already in the UFC or still fighting in Bellator. You know, you're getting maybe a good payday or whatever, and there's the hope of a world, like, you know, you're still fighting for the world championship or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm not there yet. I'm not there anymore. So, and this is absolutely nothing to do with Cage Warriors. Is the money that I was on with Cage Warriors for me, for what I'm trying to do over the next year or two with saving for mortgages, stuff like that. It just, the two don't coincide with each other. And again, I signed on the dotted line. I knew where I was going, and that's not the sole reason, but that's one of them. Injuries was another thing. You know, my last 2 fights, I was signed to fight. What's the name? Newcastle. Mediver Cage Warriors. And from Newcastle, that Queeley.
Ryan Scope.
I was meant to fight Ryan Scope in France last year when Bellator went to Paris, and I popped my rib about 3 weeks out from the fight. And again, it's probably something I just would have walked through when I was 25, 26.
Yeah.
A loss now in my career is detrimental, is seriously detrimental. So I took myself out of that fight 3 weeks out and let myself heal, and we thought we'd go again. Another fight never materialised with Bellator, maybe through the COVID or whatever. You know, I was talking to the top brass at there, and they said they weren't coming back to Europe this side of the COVID, and that's what my contract expired. So that's where I was with Bellator. So between injuries, money, and I did lose the love for it a little bit, if I'm not going to lie, through other factors. You know, you're doing all these things for promotions, and look, you're not doing it for promotions. You're doing it for yourself. You're doing it to get to the next level, and you're doing it to win fights, and you're doing it again to try to get yourself a little bit better, a little bit closer to world title fights. Yeah. You're taking fights on short notice. You're cutting massive amount of weight. You're going back to back with fight camps. I remember doing a fight on KSW on the Saturday. Bellator rings me on
3 weeks
Tuesday.
later, yeah.
No, a week. 1 week.
A week.
And, you know, UFC rings me on 10 days or 12 days or whatever. Can you cut nearly 40 pounds? Yeah, we'll do it. Yes. I was always the person they rang. Late notice, fucking a mile out. Cut this way, go up a way. I did it for them all, and I got no thanks for any of them. And I'm not trying to say I deserved anything from anybody. I'm not trying to say that. All I'm saying is, me personally now, at this present moment, I'm sick of doing it. And I'm sick of just being tossed to the side, being buried on undercards, being this, that, and the other. So that's why I lost the love of it a little bit. I'm not going to lie. And then injuries and the financial end of it just sort of pressed me out. I've got other things going on in my life at the minute as well. I'm trying to get snowball my career a little bit more of where I'm at. And I'm just looking towards the future and that end of it. You know, I'm not by any means not training in the gym. That's my love of it. My love of training never went out the window. I'm still in the gym 5 nights a week doing jiu-jitsu because I love it. I absolutely love it. I have a grappling match on Sunday. I'm going to try to get back on the Polaris card
Brilliant.
on a Polaris card next year because everybody I talk to seems to really like the match that I put out the last time. We got match of the night on the other card. So, and I'm good at it. I know I'm good at jiu-jitsu. I never blew my own bollocks when I was in MMA, but I know I'm a good jiu-jitsu player. You know, and that I know I'm a good jiu-jitsu player, and anybody I roll with, be it black belt, blue belt, purple belt, whatever, I give them a hard time, and I enjoy it. There's no nerves, there's no anxiety. You know, you go out onto a jiu-jitsu match, worst thing that happens, you tap out, right? You might get injured or whatever. I'm not going to elbow their head off you for a couple of £100, and you know. So I don't get that anxiety that I used to get leading up to fights and stuff. You know, you'd be going to bed about 3 weeks out from a fight, starving because you're cutting weight, anxious because you have a big fight coming up, you're doing this, you're doing that, and all the nervous anxiousness is just gone, you know. So it's a load off.
I don't know how you do it, but listen to me, that was interesting what you said there. You know, you've obviously jumped in on short notice for promotions, the UFC, and I remember, you know, sharing that experience with you back in Stockholm when you had to cut like 32 odd pounds. I think it was in 13 days, 36, which was absolutely insane. But do you regret any of that, Paul, being so maybe cooperative with these promotions? You know, would you have done things differently? You know, not taking the short notice fight, not being so willing to do what these promotions wanted you to do back a number of years ago?
It's going to sound weird, right? I actually wouldn't change a thing because it made me the person I am today. It made me the fighter it made me who I am, basically. So that's sort of how I got my name, as everyone used to see me. And I don't forget, I took the sport extremely late.
Yeah.
I never boxed before, never did judo, taekwondo, any of that. I started MMA as a whole, and I couldn't box eggs when I was 22 years of age. So to get from where I was to the UFC, I think was in the space of about 6 years. I did it. And to get me black belt, I think in 9 years or 10 years under Andy. You know, that's
incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good team, but I wouldn't change a team. Looking back on it, the only thing I would like, maybe a little bit, well, it's going to sound that I will change it. I would have liked to always fight, even one fight, just to see how it got on at lightweight for the UFC.
Yeah,
I would have really liked one lightweight fight, because featherweight is just, it's not my weight, and it's the only bit that I don't regret taking the short notice fight against Mirsad. Mirsad. Look, it is what it is. It was stupid, but it is what it is. I just really would have liked to do one fight at lightweight for them to see how it got on, to see where it was.
Do you regret then? You know, obviously, as they say, you know, sometimes the UFC don't come knocking twice, but you know, I think as well, you know, that this case has been made for the opposite when you see a certain amount of fighters. I think it was Paddy Pimblett.
Yeah, it is a great one for that. You know, us at the time, we that would have been what we thought. Oh, it's the UFC. It's the three letters. They're here. They're looking for you.
That's the narrative that the UFC have put around. In fairness, over the years, I think it's changing to some degree. But I do agree with you, Paddy.
You have to give Paddy his dues. That he actually said no. He said no. I think he was looking for more money out of at the time. Yeah. And they said no, and he said, right, well then fuck off. Don't, like, I'm busy over here. He actually lost after that. after him saying that to them, and everyone was saying that's it, he'll never get into the UFC now, but he didn't. He went on another tear. He beat everyone, got his belt back, and became a good polarizing figure around Liverpool and across MMA. Everyone likes the way he goes on. He's big, he's loud, and he probably did get signed for a lot more money the second time round. He asked, so fair play to him.
Definitely, yeah, I agree, and he's done an incredible job. But something I found interesting, and obviously we talked about it there a second ago, was the 36 pounds you had to cut going into that fight.
I know three other fighters on the European scene that did the exact same cut. I think they did about 33, 32, but they all went to the natural weight of whatever weight class they fought at. So Stevie Ray done similar. I think he did 32, but he went down to lightweight. I know Rob Wyford did a heavy one. I think he could have done up around 28, but he went to featherweight. And I know the Australian guy, Damien Brown, that I fought, he did something along the lines of about 30, but again, he went to lightweight. I had never went to featherweight before. And I remember making weight for lightweight on the Friday night. I think we did like probably 15 pounds. Maybe a little bit less, maybe 12 pounds on the Friday, and we had another 10 pounds to go on the 12 pounds on the Thursday night, and we had another 10 pounds to go the next morning. Wow. I think I tried to do 22 pounds in the sauna. So I think I got 20 pounds out of me in the sauna, and I missed weight by 2 pounds or a pound and a half, I think it was.
Unbelievable, yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like even look at me record post UFC. I'm 5-3 against good guys, really good guys. I got a knockout loss over in Poland. They got my nose bleeding, put on the other side of my face. But I was winning the fight. I was winning every punch up until that one punch. I know it is what it is. But so got that loss, and I had the Norman Park loss up the north. Everyone thought that was razor close.
You won that fight. You did, and I said that to Norman afterwards, up in Belfast, and to be honest with you, that interview was on Severe MMA, and Norman said, I can see why people scored it for Paul as well. So, at the end of the day,
it was a good fight. I didn't get the nod. It is what it is. Like I said, but that's 2 losses, and then my third loss then is Georgie, who was an ex-world champion with WSOF, fighting up at the top level of Bellator. He's fighting the good guys. He's fought AJ McKee. Did he fight Pitbull as well?
So I'm not sure if he fought Pitbull.
I think he actually did, and I think he's fighting the really good guys. So lost to him, it shouldn't be the be all and end all of your career in Bellator, especially again after helping the lads out on a week's notice and beating a good guy in Charlie Leary. Yeah. Charlie Leary then went on to beat nearly everyone that he's fought in Bellator. Yeah. I think, and he beat somebody else. I think he beat 2 other lads in Bellator as well. So I think I'm the only guy to beat him in Bellator. So what the fuck is going on here? So that's I'd be frustrated when I look back at my career in certain aspects of it. But it is what it is.
Do you think, something this could be controversial? I don't know if you want to bring it up, but or speak about it. But sometimes the Team Rhino guys have had a bit of a rough ride over the years. We've seen it with Siri, we saw it with you in terms of the UFC and things like that. But it's been a little bit tougher for Andy and you lads. I think I feel personally, anyway.
So I'll give you a bit of a euphemism. Is that the right word I'm going to say? Like a term or.
Yeah,
you can take this whatever way you want. Or you can say, that's a hell of a statement or whatever. But I've said it to Andy a couple of times. That Team Rhino is the Palestine of Irish MMA. And if you can read, if you can sort of read between the lines and just say, look, we put it all out on the paper here. I don't think there's been a Team Rhino lad that ever got one easy fight. Now. None of us want the easy fights. We're not there. That's not what I'm getting at, right? Nobody wants to walk in the park. Everyone wants a hard fight. It's not that. It's right. You go back to Cage Warriors with Siri. They wanted him to fight. He was beating everybody at the time. He was after knocking out Paul Marin with that liver kick. He was running through lads. He was asked to be
a tournament, wasn't it?
Tournament for the fourth flyweight, but just give him the belt. Give him the crack of the belt. Sorry, don't make him jump through hoops to be a format. He's killing everybody. I think he was about 33, 34 at the time. So one fight and he gets injured, puts him back about 6 months, not 6 weeks like some of the younger lads. So this is what I'm saying with promoters. They need to know, one, the audience. Siri used to be a walk forward fighter, give everything he had in fights. And so give him a good hard fight. Not one that's easily winnable, but don't make him jump through hoops for 4-man Tony. I think I had 8 fights in Cage Warriors, 7-1, I think it was, and it was really good. Never got a shot at the belt.
Yeah, Jesus, that's mad now that you think about that.
Look,
isn't it?
This isn't me hating on anybody. No,
but it's actually, if you look at that now, you would get, like, in the last 3 or 4 years, if you put 2 to 3 wins, impressive wins together, probably in the Cage Warriors division, if you'd 5 or 6 fights probably coming into Cage Warriors, you would be looking at a title shot.
And I finished every single one of them bar one, Damien Brown. I took him to the decision, and that got fight tonight. And I think I had 3 or 4 submission of the year candidate. I think I got 1 or 2 submission of the years and fight of the years. And what more do you have to do with people? Like, you know what I mean? So then the likes of Bellator even saying, like, you're jumping in on short notice, the UFC are jumping in on short notice, cutting all that weight. Right, you lose 2 at the wrong category. Just give me 1 at lightweight. Just 1. Yeah. They were coming back here to Dublin. They plastered my face all over fucking half of Dublin as well with the flags and the posters and the banners and all up in Dublin Airport. And
the invasion campaign the UFC did, yeah.
And they never gave me a crack in Dublin.
That was
just
madness.
1 at lightweight is all I wanted to do.
Is that the real... That really pissed me off, and I think myself and Petey, we've talked about this for a long, long time in terms of that. You know what I mean? Like, fighting at 45 in the UFC, and then them not obviously giving you a crack in Dublin. Is that sort of the one thing in your career that you're just going to go, fuck? I wish they would have put me in the arena in Dublin.
If we kept dwelling on it and thinking like that, I'd drive myself mad. So I just don't think about it anymore. It is what it is. I've learned to just think of something else.
What is that's an interesting one. But what is the biggest regret then in your career, Paul? Is there one that stands out?
My only regret is not winning Andy a world title. Not being able to...
Don't start the fucking tears now, mate.
Me? I'm not fucking...
I'll start crying.
I would have really liked to win a world title, a legitimate one. I would have liked to, obviously the Bama, it wasn't a world title, it was a European title. Yeah. But I never. That's what I meant in my post about not making the biggest impression in MMA. I know, everyone seeing me fight and stuff like that. But in terms of myself, when I look at my own career, I never took home a world title or a belt or anything like that. But I knew I was a fan favourite. I always got stuck in, and I knew I gave a good fight. And even if I lost, I always gave a good account of myself in fights. So the one thing I'd always look back on is I never got a world title.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. And I think, no, you are right. Obviously, a big shame. You should have got a Cage Warriors title shot now, looking back on it. But the one thing I will say, and, it's testament to you, testament to Andy, testament to all the guys at Team Rhino, that, you hold yourself in such grace. You're very humble, win, lose or draw. And that's the way I think the reason why the fans have always maybe related to you in Dublin is because of that. Because you're the same guy, win, lose or draw. And you've been one of the most humble fighters I've ever come across in my journalism career.
Yeah, but I think looking even at the gym now, and then looking at the gym now to when I started is completely different. Like when I started, obviously I was the new guy coming in. I had John Donnelly, Neil Seardy, who else used to be knocking about fighting at the high level? Davey Kelly. Nobody remember him now on the scene. Nobody even remembers John Donnelly on the scene, and it's a fucking shame because the guy was an unbelievable talent. Like, people they don't know. Like, there's 1 or 2 of his fights still on YouTube. If any of our listeners or any of our viewers want to go on, just type in John Donnelly, Team Rhino, and fucking killer, an absolute killer. But now I'm the older person in the gym, and the guys, well, I wouldn't say look up to me or anything like that.
They're the
guys I looked up to. So any of the amateur lads coming through, well, look, you could say they look up to you, and, you know, obviously I've had a bigger fights and stuff like that. But all the lads are just, they're just 100%. And then I'd be saying to them, and saying to the young lads now, and Syrian that used to say to me, how the fuck can you go out and start calling someone's mother a bitch, and you're this person, you're a fake, you're a phony, and calling these people every other name under the sun when you don't know them, and without them, there's no fight for you. So they're doing you a favour signing on the dotted line. They're not signing on the dotted line just for nothing. They're trying to. How can you hate someone that's doing the same thing as you day in, day out, trying to better themselves in the same sport that you two love? You know, it's beyond me. So for me, it was never about bitching to anybody in a cage or anything. For me, it was always just about the competition and trying to get better myself. And I think that's the way most of the lads, well, nearly all the lads in Team Rhino are. It's just about the competition. So I'm after seeing one or two of the young lads on a different podcast there recently. So Lewis and Taylor, they're fighting quite regularly now. I think they did 8 fights this year, but about 15 fights between them this year alone.
Good stuff.
But there's this other podcast. I won't say. They had them on, but what they do is they get the two fighters, and it's called a face-off. But they'll do like a video like this, and they get them basically squaring up live on the.
It's called stirring shit, Paul.
Yeah, 100%. So, but the Team Rhino lads just don't bite. They're just like, it's no big deal, you know. And they go out and they fight their hearts out, and I absolutely love it. You know, there's no bollocks about any of them.
Get in there, throw down, shake hands after.
Shake hands. Look, I seriously say to all the lads, the best two we've done so far is Charlie Leary and Phil Mulpeter. I remember the two of us. I decided when I was cutting weight.
Charlie's a great lad. Charlie's a great lad.
But when I was cutting weight, I was fighting the both of them, not at the same fucking time. I was fighting Phil Mulpeter a couple of years back, and Charlie obviously last year, and 2 years ago, it's COVID, and I was cutting weight at the same time for hours. Hours. And chatting with them, I knew Philip. Philip had fought in the Irish team when he was over in Chicago 1 year. Knew Philip. Two of us are going out to do the business. We were giving each other a stick. Oh, you're getting out already. You've only been in here 5 minutes. You know.
Deadly.
Philip Mulpeter made weight first, and he was laughing at me. He says, you still have 0.3 of a kilo to go. So I was in there for another 20 minutes, you know. We went out, we punched the face off each other, and we had a few points back in the hotel room after, or the hotel after. And that's what it's about. And Philip's a good friend of mine. I still talk to Charlie every couple of weeks on Instagram, and that's what it's about. Good competition, and, you know.
Definitely. You mentioned something interesting there, Paul, and I think you might have actually shared the tweet when I spoke to Paul Felder, and he spoke about, you know, he's had a couple of really bad weight cuts, and we had a good chat about that after, I think the week after he retired also from competitive action in mixed martial arts. You know, he said he reckoned he developed a serious eating disorder from cutting weight. You've had, you know, severe weight cuts in excess probably of what Paul had to cut as well. It's becoming a real issue. It's becoming a real issue though, isn't it?
So Paul, I seen it, and I would agree to it to a certain extent. I used to, in between fight camps, when you think when you, alright, so say you do 4 fights a year, you'll know you're a strict sort of 8 to 12 week bracket. You can't go out socialising with your friends. You're not in the right mindset of being around anybody normal. When I say normal, I mean like who doesn't do MMA. They're saying to you like, oh, do you want to come for a coffee? Do you want to go for this? Do you want to go for a sandwich? No, we don't. So you're living in that hermit lifestyle for 12 weeks at a time. You come off the back of it, you need to do a bit of catching up. You go for a drink here, go for a drink there. And Andy was always very good at me through my whole career.
Yeah.
He'd always be at me, right? When I say at me, I would do a fight camp, and I'd probably have one night out, and he'd have me a fight booked straight away, fucking another 8 weeks in advance. So if I wasn't banged up or whatever, because he knew I'd probably be out on the drink a little bit more with the lads, and my weight would probably go back up too much, and it's a bigger weight cut and that. Or he'd be in the gym and he'd be grabbing out the little love handle. What the fuck's going on here? You know. So it's little things like that I think makes Andy a good coach, a great coach. You know, it keeps our weight in check. He's always constantly on at you. And I know what Paul fella's saying is, to a degree, it can happen some fighters, and I don't think it happened to me post sort of retirement. I still haven't gone out. I haven't even had a retirement point yet. No.
What? Jesus Christ, I'm going for a few this evening. I'll send you pictures later.
The day I retired, sorry, I said it the day I came out and retired publicly. That was about 2 months post me saying it. I remember Andy was in a cafe with me there a couple of months ago, the Woodmill, place we go to up in our town, good friends of ours, and he just, I was literally like, had a fork in my mouth at the time, and he just said, "So what's happening? Are you retired?" And I just said, "Yeah." You know, I had been thinking about it a long time, more so since the Bellator cut. Then the injury happened for Cage Warriors, getting ready for that fight, and I had a lot of sleepless nights thinking about it. And I just said, "Yeah, you know." Andy
had been saying it for a couple of years though, Paul. He sort of dropped it a little bit. And I remember, obviously, you got quite emotional after the Charlie Leary win backstage.
Yeah,
was that part
people,
of the
people think that was just a win for me for that Charlie Leary thing. It wasn't really. I got my head blown off over in Poland by
Arthur Sabinski.
Yes, and when I was in the hospital over there, I said to myself, "Fuck this, never doing it again. What's the fucking point?"
Yeah.
You know. And I came back. I did Polaris after that. I was going to go grappling then, and then I had taken a good few weeks away from. I couldn't strike. I couldn't kickbox. Couldn't really do much stand up. So I just went grappling then for a couple of months, and then I started. He sort of left me alone doing the grappling for a bit, and then he just said, "Bellator are back in February. Do you want you for this fight?" And he never really pushed it. You know, he's good at tipping buttons, you know, and knowing what way to sort of play it and ask it. He just left me alone. And then he said, "Bellator are back," and I said, "Yeah, let's do it. Who is it?" Charlie Leary, already 100%. So, coming back off a bad loss like that to get a good win against a good opponent in Charlie, it just, I wear my heart on my sleeve at the best of times, you know that, and it just, the emotions come out of me that night.
Andy means a huge amount to me, and you know, you've obviously created a massive bond for the years that you've been there in Team Rhino. He's become like a father figure to you. You're good pals. I've seen you together over the years down in the gym. He's a great person, Andy.
More times than anyone on the fucking gaff, like.
He's a great person, and I love Andy as well. He's one of the real characters, and one of the founders and one of the pioneers of the sport in this country. Just speak to me how much Andy means to you throughout your career and what he's done for you, and vice versa as well. There's a lot of emotion there when you speak about Andy, and describe to people what he means to you.
Right, so I would have grown up without a father figure in my house. See, my ma would have looked after the four of us, and we only left when I was about 10 years of age. So my ma looked after the four of us. For all our lives, basically. So when I started the gym now in Team Rhino, like I had my apprenticeship, I had my trade. It's not like I was looking for, you know, like a fucking a daddy or anything like that. You know, I was 22 when I went down to the gym, and I was sort of just a little bit wayward in my own life. I was out drinking every single weekend, 3 nights a week. Deals were Thursday, Friday, Saturday, maybe a Sunday. I was pissing me money up against the wall. I was just being a young flick, not knowing any better, and through training over the years and like that, always keeping me in check throughout the years. It would be it weight or be it just anything, you know. If I was acting out of school, like even I don't know, like fucking not showing up to the gym for a couple of weeks after a fight. He'd be down at your front door, like,
Wow.
so where the fuck are you? Like, yeah, he'd be ringing you, or he'd be, you know, he wouldn't let, he doesn't let good lads get out. He tries not to let them slip through the net, you know. And he always pushed me. He pushed me to heights I never. Like I would have never known that I could make it to the UFC or do any of the stuff we did. So for him, I'll always be grateful, you know.
And he's an absolute fucking legend, and I'm sure would you have a few words for Neil and Keith as well? You've always obviously were in your corner over the years as well.
I fought, and like I said, I used to look up when I come into the gym. Neil's only 5'4", and I looked up to him a lot. I still do. He's a big figure. When I started, everybody loves him in the Irish scene, and I'll always love that I fought on small cards. Got to do my UFC debut with him. Like, their memories you take to the grave with you. You know, people don't have them. When people ask me what we've done for the last 10 years, I do get into little stories here and there, and their jaw drops. Like, you know, I do tell them about the whole UFC, the weight experience, the walking out in front of 35,000 people on your debut. The lads, they just don't know what way to take it, you know. So their memories I'll cherish forever.
Unbelievable. That weekend in Sweden, that week in Sweden was fantastic, and
it was sore on me, I tell you that.
Yeah. I bet it was. I don't mean like that. I mean in terms of the occasion, and you know, obviously you said that at the time it was a record for a crowd in Europe, like 35,000 in a football stadium, and you know. But is there a moment, right, you're going to look back on and go, because I think are you still the only guy? I was just saying this the other day, UFC, Bellator, KSW, Cage Warriors, BAMA, Polaris. Are you the only guy? You must be.
Even if you take Polaris out, even just doing the MMA shows, I'm the only Irish guy to do them yet. And then throw the Polaris thing in. Wow. Nobody comes close. Now look, you can either read that two ways. You can either read that as the ultimate journeyman, or I was good enough to sort of fight on them all.
Well, I think obviously you're good enough to fight in them all. Don't be saying that about yourself, Redzer. But Jesus,
no, I'm only one.
Is there a moment that you're going to go, fuck? You know, that's the one that sticks out for me in your mixed martial arts career.
In terms of what, like
achievement,
a win or
anything, a win, you know, achievement, something you did in the cage that you go, holy shit, or even somewhere you got that you wouldn't think you'd ever get.
I never. So even when we were winning in Cage Warriors, you know, that was a crazy 2.5 years. I was with them for my first stint, or like my own stint, but like the first time round. When I went on that little bit of a tear, I was 3-3 coming into the Cage Warriors. I was only finding my feet in MMA. I was sort of, I had fuck all of an amateur career. I think I had about 8 or 9 fights, maybe 10 of them, if I can think back and remember them. So then Andy pushed me into. I went over, trained in American Top Team, came back, had a fight. I had me two pro fights before I went over. Came back, I had a win and a loss before I went over. Came back, and another win and a loss. Then took about a month or two out with another win and a fucking loss. So I was like hit and miss really going into fucking Cage Warriors. They came to Dublin. Andy got me a slot on the card, but I remember the bit that sort of tweaked it for me. I wouldn't say it's the highlight in my career, but it's certainly the bit that I remember the most in terms of just in my head something switched. I was fighting on Battlezone, and I think it was the co-main event. John Donnelly fought Philip Peter that night. It was that card.
Okay.
And I was due to fight I think it was Pat McAllister. I'm nearly sure I was signed to fight him anyways, but I don't know if it was for this fight. I could have been, and he ended up pulling out through injury. And then they got, and this is fucking terrible. I can't actually remember your man's name. He's from Cork, and he's a black belt, and he's a terrible nice guy. It's not Cork, Kerry. Nobody knows him. He fought in Cage Warriors fucking years ago, like donkeys years ago. He fought Kurt Warburton and all.
Is he Irish?
Yeah, he's from Kerry. I can't think of his fucking name, right? But anyways, I remember it was. Remember when Jiu-Jitsu nobody had a belt in Ireland? The purple belt was fucking scarce. So I was just after getting my blue belt, I think, and he had a purple belt, and like that, he'd fought Kurt Warburton on Cage Warriors, and that was the big thing around there. Even Syria and that hadn't fought on Cage Warriors by that time, like. And I remember one or two jiu-jitsu players that in the gym, they're not training now, but they said to me, "This guy is phenomenal. He's an animal. He's gonna. Why are you taking that fight? He's gonna smash your head in." And like I said, I'd only turned pro maybe
Who was
a
it?
year.
McGuire?
Tom McGuire, yes.
Jeez, the McGuire brothers
The young
gone,
fans
yeah.
won't know Tom. He's such a nice guy. He's a gentleman. But the one or two jiu-jitsu players, and he's a really good jiu-jitsu player as well. But they were telling me that this guy's a fucking killer. And I went out, and these are my fucking friends telling me this as well. Like, but I had went out in my own head. I had myself beat before I went out to that fight.
Okay.
And I went out. I just had purple belt in my head. This guy is fucking gonna do this to me. I remember just I think I went in for a stupid single, flopped down to me back. He put me in a crucifix position. I had about four silly, stupid punches like that to the head, and the fight was called off. So I lost the fight. So that takes me to 3-3. And I just remember walking out of that cage, and I says, I'm never putting that amount of hard work and diet for 8 weeks of my life to go out and get beat like that again. Ever. I'm never doing it. I'm never going. I literally, as I'm walking down the step to get out of that fight, I says, that's never happened to me again. Ever. We don't give a bollocks. That's never happened to me.
It put you right off, did it?
That amount of work and beating yourself in your head before you've even walked out, I just says, no, that's not for me. I can't do that again. I'm not into it. But not now. You look, I'm not into losing it anyways. And I have losses.
And does that moment still stick out to you now, all these years later?
That's the biggest moment in my head. That just that one little bit. Yeah. I just remember having myself wound up about a week or two before the fight because he had something that I didn't report about jiu-jitsu.
Wow. It
was because the whole MMA thing was still new to me. I'd only been training about 2.5 years maybe, and I had myself wound up so much. I'm walking down the stairs. I said, I'm never letting that happen to me ever again. Be it whatever. And after that, then I went into Cage Warriors, and that's the rest is history. Then.
Well, that's a good segue into. You mentioned that obviously, psychologically, that sort of was a battle for you back in the day, and it still sort of sticks out. Is there any advice you give to an up and coming, young fighter in Ireland now? Is there anything you'd say to them if you're about to start your pro career over again? Any advice?
But yeah, maybe talk a little bit more than I did, and we get you further in place. It certainly gets other people.
Do you regret that now? Do you regret that now? Because I remember we spoke about that before, an MMA fighting and stuff like that, myself and PT with you, and that was something, as you said there, maybe maybe you should have called out a few motherfuckers more or talked a bit more smack, no?
If I talked the same smack I do in the gym out in public.
Oh yeah, or to me on text or anything like that.
Yeah. If I did that out in public or the fights, I would be a multi-millionaire 10 times over by now. Because the stuff I come out with in the gym, I actually harass the lads. I torment the life out of them, so loud. But I just couldn't do it. But it's acting the bollocks. It comes from a place of bleeding. It comes from the heart up in the gym,
Yeah.
There's no malice in it, and it's just pure banter and stick. Like I said, I couldn't bring myself to do it out in public. It's just not in my character, and I don't think I'd enjoy doing it. I got into MMA to enjoy it. Well, I got into MMA to lose a little bit of weight, but I got into MMA because I wanted to enjoy something, try something that I thought I would have enjoyed, and I did. So I'm not going to change the way I fight and go about myself and my character just to get me head, just to advance myself in a career. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it in my career now. I wouldn't do stuff that I don't want to do to advance myself in my career now. That I'm in. So I'm not going to do it in MMA. But if I had any tips, I probably would tell the young lads to go a bit louder out there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it for myself, but it was, you know, some lads do a little bit, you know. So maybe that. The big one is, like Siri always used to say, have a fucking backup plan. I know. I never got into MMA to make money. That wasn't me. I had my apprenticeship done and all by that, so I can always make money doing going back to plumbing and pipe fitting and all, and good money too. But
very good money.
Have a backup plan. I do hear young lads saying they're just training full time. They probably only got as far as 5th year in school. And they have no plans to go back to do anything else. I went back. I was in college doing a level 7 in training and teaching while I was in the middle of fight camp for Charlie Leary and training full time, and I was working at the same time. So I had went back when I was like 33 to go back to college to get me where I am in what I'm doing. And I'm probably going to go back and do a level 8 bachelor's probably next year to get myself a little bit further where I'm at. So do have a backup plan. MMA, you know, one bad injury, touch wood.
Yeah.
I never got any bad injuries, and I'm going to use this very lightly. We've all seen pictures and videos of what happened to a friend of mine, Ian Coughlin, there a couple of months ago.
I was literally going to bring that up to you, Paul. Yeah, obviously you spent 18 months with Ian.
He's a friend of mine, and he trained up in Team Rhino for about 18 months, and he got his black belt off Andy, and good judo player. A terrible nice guy, and he had a freak accident there a couple of months ago. Training, I think he was training for a fight up in Clan Wars, and that is how things quickly can turn. It mightn't happen when it's training. It might happen in the cage, but you know, you have to know these things, and you have to have plans. Look, what happened then, you can't plan for that. I do understand, but you know, you got a blown out knee. The old chestnut of the footballers. My own knee. I could have made it. My own knee didn't go. Look,
I had a bit of a bad knee injury before my rugby career as well.
Knees do fucking go, especially in jiu-jitsu when fellas are putting on heel hooks at 100 mile an hour. So just have a bit of a backup plan, and that's really it. And that train fucking hard. Like I see a lot of little young lads that I know you do need some sort of social media presence in the world we live in today, but it's not the be all and end all.
Yeah.
I never called out anybody to get any of the fights that I did. I never talked shit about anybody. I didn't need it, and I still fought on all those shows. So just train hard, and the cream will rise to the top. But you know, don't be trying to fucking take shortcuts and through your MMA career and enjoy it. You know, you'll see fellas not enjoying that career or not enjoying the training, the process and stuff like that. Enjoy every bit of it, because like we're sitting here now. Not that I never thought it would end. It goes quicker than you think. You know, I'm professional. Maybe 11 years.
11 years, yeah.
11 years, yeah. And it's the fastest 11 years of my life.
It is. It's mad to think it's been that long since I first watched a fight. I think the first fight I went to was, I think it was the Alex, the fellow with the Greek name in the Helix many moons ago.
Yeah.
I think it was your fifth.
Was that what you wanted to introduce? That was my last fight in cage.
Oh, no, hang on. No, it wasn't then. That wasn't it then. It could have been one, but it was probably one before. Nah, I was at 4 or 5, 6 events maybe in the Helix. Maybe I'm just thinking of the wrong name. I'll get up now and say. But you did mention Ian Coughlin, and I've put up the GoFundMe here, guys. So if anyone's listening, make sure you get involved with that. It's up on the screen as you see there at the moment. And Paul, I believe you're going to be down at the seminar that John Kavanagh is actually hosting as well. So can you talk a little bit maybe about that? You know, Andy's going to be down there. I think Owen Roddy.
I haven't actually heard too much about it. I know John put it up there yesterday. It's going to be on for a couple of hours. All the coaches are going to teach a couple of their favourite submissions, throws, takedowns, whatever it is. They would normally teach or their secret moves or whatever. I know it's called the Unstoppable or the Unbreakable seminar. So yeah, I'll be down there teaching a couple of things. So get down. If you can't get down, like John said, donate. And you'll be put into a prize. You'll be put into a raffle for a prize. and it's for an unbelievable cause. You know, this if he can get the treatment for this, it's going to help him walk again. Whether or not he'd be able to fight MMA, you know, that's not for me to say or whatever. But if you can get him up independent and walking again, it's huge.
Yeah.
It is massive.
Yeah, it's great. Go along and jump on board that, guys. Anything you can at all. Onto the GoFundMe page. I'll just throw it up there once more again. It's called Let's Get Ian Walking on GoFundMe.com. And get along to that as well. Go to John Kavanagh's, I think, Instagram page or on my Twitter feed. You'll see I've put up the video of what John says.
And it'll be on Saturday the 18th of December.
That's the one. Okay, right, what fight was I at? Sorry, hang on to me. I was at the... Was it... Did you... Alexi Roberts. Get out of here. It was... I think it was Ryan Roddy. Was the Ryan Roddy fight?
Yeah. I think that was me third fight in the UFC. The third fight in Cage Warriors.
Yeah, that's the one I was at. That wasn't a Helix, was it?
Yeah, it was a New Year's Eve show.
I was at that. Of course it was. Yeah, of course it was at that.
So you did Ryan Roddy, you did Mark Allen, and you did Damien
Alexi Roberts.
And Alexis Davidis. And Alexi Roberts was over in the UK.
Oh, was it? All right, okay. All right, cool, yeah. Then a trip out to Sweden. That was good ale crack out in Sweden. Bar that. Listen, Paul, Andy, I presume you're going to get into coaching as well with Andy in Team Rhino, are you? Is it for you?
Yeah, I mean, like, I like teaching some of the things. I like teaching some of the classes in Team Rhino. I don't think I'd ever want to be a head coach or open my own place. It's not for me. I like going and being in the lads' corners. I like doing the lads' corners for them when they're fighting. But I'd rather be in training with them. I'd rather be in trying to smash their heads in still, even if it's just grappling and choking them out. But I like being in the thick of it. But I do teach the Nogi in the main English gym up there, and I love it. So yeah, like I'd be coaching out of the main gym, but I just as a main coach going down that route.
Fair enough.
No, I don't think it is for me, really.
And Paulie, listen to me. You know, you've often spoke about, you know, motivation and competition was your sort of big motivation to actually go and compete in mixed martial arts. You've talked about is Polaris, is the grappling tournaments, is that the way forward for you now to sort of feed that desire?
Yeah, like I was saying earlier on, about Andy keeping me sort of on track. When I had come out publicly and retired, I think Andy had me booked for a grappling match that I didn't even know about already. And he texted me one day. He said, you know, there's a grappling match, so you're on it. I said, all right, sound. Yeah, because not that I was going to take a step back or anything like that, but I understand where he's coming from.
Yeah.
And without competition, not that I would sway or stray or you know, take breaks out of the gym. Like I said, I do like training, but it keeps me in track in terms of, like I said to you before, I got caught up in my own sentence that I didn't finish, but this is actually finishing the sentence from a while ago. But I still haven't had a retirement point or a drink yet because I was training for this match. So Andy knows well what he's at to keep me on track, you know. And look, Christmas is only around the corner. I get this match out of the way on Sunday. I have 1 or 2 nights out of Christmas, and he already has me a grappling match planned in fucking February. So I'll be back in training for that, and it's at a little bit of a lower weight class than the one I'm at now. I'm 82 kilos this week. Next year in February it's going to be 80 kilos. So it keeps me training, keeps me weight in check, and the grappling's the way to go.
You're going to be lucky if you get a point in. I think we're going to be locked down again soon, Paul.
We will now, Bob. I could give a joke out for the second hand.
Not from what I've heard, anyway. But listen, couple more, Paul. Any lads?
Hang on, one sec.
Cool.
Yep. Now. Wow, back. How was that?
Look at that. That was magic quick. Anyone in Team Rhino we should be looking out for?
Big James Sheehan. He's already had 2 He's already had 2 good wins on Cage Warriors. He fought a really tough guy there. His last time out, the guy was a little bit more experienced than him.
Sure, he was in that phenomenal fight against Ian Garry. Yeah, that was an unbelievable scrap.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of people don't know he blew his knee out in the first exchange when he hit the deck in that fight. And he was actually 6 months recovering after that fight with his knee. Yeah, so I think James Shane, if he gets a good run of it and takes fights a bit more, does a bit of me and take fights a little bit sooner rather than later.
Okay.
I'd like to see James a little bit more active. Big Adam Darby, nobody's seen him yet. Really, he was on the amateur scene there, and he hasn't fought in 2.5 years. And I keep trying to give him a kick in the arse, tell him he hasn't got. Well, look, Andy just beat him already. So why did we just give throwing little bits of Salt Bay on top of the Andy stuff, you know? So I'd be trying to give him a kick in the arse, telling him MMA doesn't wait for anybody. So he's over in MTK in Dubai at the minute. He wanted to get away and do a bit of training. He actually wanted to go over to UMA Javier.
Okay.
But obviously with COVID and stuff going on, that wasn't feasible. So John Mitchell is training over in MTK at the minute. So he just spun over there for a month. So he's enjoying it. He's getting some good rounds in with the UAE champ. A couple of UFC fighters over there. So he's getting good level sparring in. I think you're going to see a good Adam Darby when he's back. If he can make lightweight, I think he's too big for welter. I think he's too big for lightweight. He's only 82, 83 kilos, but he's a big man. He's about 6'5", 6'6". I think welterweight is the way to go from. So I'd actually like to see him do one at amateur first, just to shake out any little cobwebs he has, and then hit the ground running at a professional. But he's certainly one to look for. And the three young lads that are on it at the minute, Lewis Bourne, Taylor Quinn, and my good pal Paddy Morgan out of the gym. They're just fighting regularly. They've a good click together. I think Lewis has about 8 fights this year. Taylor has about 8 fights.
Wow.
Lewis fights this Sunday. Taylor's fighting next Sunday, next Sunday for belts. So they're doing what they need to get themselves up. And I think there's no rush to go pro with them the way we did years ago. Like, you know, we were, like I said, 8 or 9 fights are going pro. I think now the norm should be about 30 amateur fights. Do 3 or 4 good years. Do the IMFs.
Agreed.
Do the Euros. If you can get over to the Worlds, I know it is quite pricey, but if you can do them and you win it, it really does set you up for a pro career. Going over and winning one of them competitions, you have 5 fights in 1 week. It's not for the faint-hearted. You know, I know people say that only 3-minute rounds and got bigger gloves and that. I've seen fellas in the finals. Our own Matty Sheen was smashed up in Vegas going into the final. You know, lads are coming in taped up ears, fucking busted eyes.
It sets up the guys so good for their pro careers. You said there, like, look,
yeah, absolutely. I think like I said, winners, the cream always goes to the top, and the winners do come out and they have a good pro career.
Of course, I totally agree with you. Look at even, for example, I remember meeting Mohamed Mokayev when he was 14, I think, in Manchester at the Bisping fight, and you look at him and what he's done in terms of his going to the IMAFs, you know, 30, I don't know what it is. It's a mental amount of amateur fights, and there's never not enough amount of amateur fights. And you look at the elevation, the push he's got, the level of opponent he's sort of gradually faced and stepped up. It's been great to see, and I think he's one of the real sort of true products we're going to see over the next number of years, and there's obviously a lot coming through already. So I totally agree with you, my friend. Right, listen, one more. I got to ask you this one, in terms of the talent that we've seen over the last, say, couple of years, and guys you know very well as well, in terms of, you know, Joe McColgan, you know, obviously had to relinquish his belt there recently for Cage Wars, but we've Paul
actually, I don't know what happened there. What did happen there?
Joe's just so busy at the moment in terms of work, and he doesn't basically have the time at the moment to take a fight, and he doesn't want to delay the division, but he's been promised he's going to get the winner of the Mehdi Ben Lakhtar fight afterwards. So it's just gonna be like a defense basically without the belt when he gets back in. So that's the sort of situation they're working with there. But out of Joe, you know, Paul Hughes, Reese McKee, we've Ian Gary there, Dean Barry I think's been training a bit with you guys in Rhino. Are you excited about this sort of next level? It's sort of the second wave, as Ian was saying. Are you excited about what's going to happen in terms of the big shows?
I think there's some phenomenal talent out there. Who was I talking to? I think I was talking to, was it Rodney Moore? Somebody there the other day. I was up cornering the lads up in at their fights the weekend, and I remember talking. This is probably me being punched in the head too much, but I can't remember who was talking about this. But I remember saying, like when I was sort of coming up, I'm going back years and years ago. It was very much Tuesday was a Thai boxing class, Wednesday was a jiu-jitsu class, a sparring class, you know. And then throughout the years, it graduated to obviously full MMA, and now you're coming in, you're doing Thai boxing with these drills, with that drill, and it's all incorporated now. Plus, now you have, like, it was Andy and John that had that were bringing in, that brought in sort of jiu-jitsu into Ireland years ago. Now, how many jiu-jitsu gyms is in Ireland? So
all over the place.
Yeah, and there's good solid. The level is just up here at the minute.
Yeah.
So I think with everything progression of the sport throughout the years in Ireland is going to breed better fighters coming forward. And I think the next generation of fighters, I think they are killers. And I think the talent is there. There's seeing some of the stuff the younger lads are doing in their amateur fights now. You're saying that's unheard of. For an amateur, like for what I was coming through as amateur. So I think even
the jit scene here, from obviously I'm not a big guy in terms of knowing actually the jiu-jitsu competitions and competitors here in the country, but it seems that way as well, that maybe there's something's going to blow up on the jit scene here very soon, and there's obviously a lot of guys doing it in terms of someone really coming out in the world level and winning some titles.
I found the lads to be chasing it on jiu-jitsu. Obviously it's not as big or it's not as glamorous as MMA. It's some of the jiu-jitsu it's terrible to watch. It's so fucking boring. Like I understand when I'm watching it, and I'd rather turn on the fucking darts half the time. That's a fact. You talk to anybody, like how can you look at two fellas like locked up in half guard for fucking 5 minutes, not good, and trying to get an inch on a fucking lapel or something like that. It's horrible to watch. That's why I think the likes of these Polaris shows, they push the action, they push the submission, and
with the reels.
It's some of the grappling matches on those are great to watch. So I do think the lads that are coming through now, the likes of Kieran Davin, Kieran Brown, and all over Ireland that are going onto these shows, they're pushing that fast-paced jiu-jitsu scene in Ireland, and like it is only going to breed more shows coming here. Will it be look Polaris is coming here? Is going to come here. We've got that Grapple Kings on the weekend on Sunday, which I'm on. Got Ash Williams over. He's won the Polaris belt 3 times, so he's the main event there the weekend. He's a phenomenal jiu-jitsu player. So look, that's going to just take a little bit of time to come over here with the bigger shows, we'll say Polaris, but for a bit of look, it comes back, it comes over here next week.
And obviously it's helping mixed martial arts, so that's the main thing in terms of sort of my thinking on it anyway, Paul. But Paul, listen, it's mad the way everything sort of come full circle, and we're in that second wave now, and all you out lads are retired, and it's been an absolute...
Whoa. Keep it all that straight now.
It's been an absolute, honestly, mate, you've been a credit to the sport in this country. You've been, one of the trailblazers as well. And listen, I think that's why people, as I said earlier on, really sort of gravitate towards you, because you're a humble geezer and you're one of them. And listen, I'd like to thank you for giving us some amazing memories and letting us be part of your journey in some way. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Look, it's not hard when you have the likes of yourself and PT. No, but it's not hard. It's not hard when you have the likes of yourself and PT pushing us throughout the years. I said it when I came out there and retired there last week. Yous were really, along with the lads from Severe, the ones that gave us a big push. And if we never got a good placement on the card, or if there was ever, you just gave us the push over the years that we needed, and we never had to ask you to come out to the gym, or if we did ask you would be there that night. And for me, I'll always be grateful for the likes of you coming out, because without just, we probably wouldn't have even been heard before our fights, So thanks.
Thanks to you, Paul. That means a lot, and you're an absolute legend. And listen, we'll get that. We'll get up. We always say it. Yeah, we'll definitely do something. We'll definitely do something. We'll go. We'll do Instagram live or something as well, so the guys can have a look. But listen, I drink you under the table. Listen, my man, always a pleasure. Looking forward to seeing what's next. Looking forward to seeing what's next for you, man. Appreciate it.
100%. Thanks for having me on.
If you want to see more videos like this, do hit the subscribe button and also the notification button so you don't miss any future updates. You can also catch us on social media and also give the video a thumbs up. It does help. Thanks, guys.